Upholstery. How do you reupholster something? And can anyone do it? Like, is it actually beginner friendly? Is it affordable to bear compared to just outright buying a chair? If you want answers to those questions, you're in the right place. I'm Janelle, and this is Reupholster Decor. I reupholstered a chair by myself for the first time. It was a journey. I had some ups and downs. I'm going to show you on how I did it. Again, this video is chock full of information. I did do chapters, so feel free to only review the parts that are relevant to you. And at the end, I do a recap of pros and cons on reupholstering things. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, subscribing is free to you and priceless to me. Onwards.
Reupholster Decor.
From all my hours and hours, days and days of research, I've concluded the best way to reupholster furniture is to do the LIFO method. Last in, first out, and I'm going to use this tool I got from Joann Fabrics to remove the staples. So let's go. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like just removing the staples themselves is taking quite a bit of time, a lot longer than I expected. This staple remover does help, but you don't have to spend your money on it. You can use a flat Phillip head, even maybe pliers, small crowbar, go for it, but you don't have to spend your money on this. Oh, and I end up gloving up because I cut myself quite a few times. So this is a dangerous job. It's not for the faint of heart. Removing each and every staple in the back is not working for me. It's only working for my nerves and it's testing my patience. So what I did, like I do to every problem, I took a blade to it. No, I took a blade as close as I possibly could to the staple line.
I'm taking this blade as close as I possibly can to the staples. I'm not trying to remove those things.
And when taking the blade as close to the staple line as possibly, I got all these like frills and frizzlies and I don't know what you want to call them, stragglers. So I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of them. I know they're not technically going to be in the way once I staple the fabric on, but my idea is to use scissors to get most of it off and cut as possibly close as possible, and then maybe use a lighter. And I know that sounds dangerous and stupid, but don't worry, I got water. So if anything catches on fire, water is here.
I'm getting as close as I possibly can to cut all the frills, but not trying to damage the chair or my fingers. Here comes the fun part.
Okay, I'm not saying using a lighter near wood and thread inside a place is a good idea. I'm not recommending it, but I am saying it worked for me. There's still a little bit of thread there, but it's only a little bit, and I'm going to be using fabric, so it's going to cover it up. So I'm going to be continuing using the method with cutting it off as close to the staples as possible, and then lighten it up.
Here's the chair, all in one pieces after setting fire to it. There's still a little bit of frills and fabric left, but that's easily covered, a lot less condensed than it was before. For this next part, I'm using that sand block that has a medium and a fine grit on it, cool double-sided. Then a paper towel, get all the extra dust. And the most important part of this is the spray paint. I got black satin, my favorite, has primer and paint.
So here's the chair with it just freshly spray painted. There are some parts I neglected,
but because they're gonna get covered up with fabric. But yeah, I like satin. It has a nice glow to it instead of like a high gloss, just a nice glow. Now for the exciting part, I'm gonna show you guys the fabric I chose out. Then I'm gonna take the old panels and then use it to create the new panel, so I can use that as a size reference. And then it's time to apply the fabric. I hope you guys like it. The only thing is the pricing of it. Not the most friendly pricing for the fabric I chose, but I'll let you guys decide if it's worth it. These are my fabric choices, and what's the term? Like, this one gives me vibes, nothing but vibes. I love the color, I love the texture of it. It's nice, faux, vinyl. I love the color. It was a little bit pricey, but I had to get it. It even matches the Reupholster decor floors. And then this one is a nice white canvas. It's actually pretty thick. But I think they pair perfect with each other. This one's gonna be on the seat, and then this one's gonna be on the back panel, on the front panel of the chair. Flipping my fabric on the back, I'm using the old seat as a template for the nude seat cover. I'm leaving a lot of extra fabric just in case I mess up. And I don't know about you guys, but it kind of reminds me of that round cross symbol, doesn't it? Then, to work smart, I'm taking the old fabric pieces, laying them out, and trying to optimize all fabric and taping it to make sure it stays in place as I cut around it. The cuts are done! Okay, now it's time to put it all together and hope that it turns out better than the original, and that the money was worth it, the time was worth it, and the risk of almost burning down my house was worth it. Let's go. I'm frugal. I don't know if you guys noticed this by watching a bunch of my videos. I'm cheap, I'm frugal, I know it, I acknowledge it, but I'm stylish. That being said, this foam piece cost $15. And this is only a 1-inch foam piece. And I'm making 2 of these chairs, and they recommend me having 3 to 4 of these, so I didn't want to spend X amount much money on chairs that don't get used that often. So what I'm going to do is cut a square piece to fit right here on the main butt part, and then use the old batting and the old foam as well, and that should be good to go. Should suffice. To avoid piping the seat, I'm taking some fabric glue, then folding the fabric against the wooden frame in hopes that it creates a seamless look. This is definitely a Janelle technique. I don't know if it's actually going to work, but let's hope. I'm just pressing the glue in, then I stapled it at the bottom just for a little bit extra security. I taped the sides to let the glue dry, and I did the same on the other side. Good morning. First off, I'm sorry I look rough this morning. It's way too early to care. Kudos to those women and men who can wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and try. I don't think you're human, but kudos to you. Round of applause. Secondly, I finished the seat last night. Well, I kind of finished it. I just have to glue the sides and we're done, and I can move on. And the seat turned out pretty well. I would give myself maybe a D, especially for my first time. So I do think this is very beginner friendly. Today, I have my assistant, more like my manager, Mr. Theo the Great. So I'm fully confident that this is going to be perfect because he's my good luck charm, and we're going to get this done today. All right, time for me to start working. All the edges and sides are taped to let the glue dry. As I do Janelle, no pipe method.
So now for the sides. Because I didn't use the common method to remove all the staples, and I did a Janelle method, which is to set fire to the chair, it's very important that when I staple the new fabric on, I do it underneath so that none of these frills show, and they will be on the opposite side of the fabric so that you won't see through. That makes sense. So if I staple it underneath, the frills will be on top, meaning from the outside you won't be able to see it. It's like it's not even there. It's a ghost. With 2 of the 3 back panels already done, I feel like I'm kind of an expert. So I'm going to recap the most efficient way I found to put the back panels on. Taking the panel, bringing it down slowly, making sure that it covers all of the parts. Finding the center, stapling it upward so it goes into the wood. Then pulling it. Kind of gets a little distracting. Pulling it as tight as possible, and then finding the center below it, like directly below it. Stapling it so again, it's going into the wood. Then doing corners. So I pull tightly. Into the wood. Tightly, other corner. Try not to hit another staple. Boom. Then continue doing the same method of finding the middle. Only the top part, worry about the bottom later. So with the top done, I'm gonna work on the bottom. First stapling the corners to the bottom and then filling it in. The bottom is more crucial from the back side of it, so you won't see any of the cracks. So get staples as close as possible. And every time you're stapling, I'm pulling and stapling to make the fabric taut and tight.
I decided to add a little bit of an accent color to the chair, mostly because I got tired of stapling. It was a lot of staples. It's the same gold paint I use on my Redefy Decor studio wall, that accent gold. I love that color. And the method I used to find the middle was again a little Janelle method, unorthodox for sure, but it worked.
Okay, the exterior sides are all stapled in. So I got the chair painted, I got the cushion done, I have the exterior sides done, and that's day 2, going on day 3. What needs to get done now is to add foam to the sides to comfortability purposes, another layer of fabric to the sides to add sturdiness to it, then the finishing fabric that I purchased, and then some piping on the outside to cover up all those staples I'm putting in and have put in so far. So I have a lot of work cut in for me. Okay, I'm gonna get to it.
This is the batting from the old chair. I'm going to reuse it, and it's just sticking right on there. If it doesn't, you can use fabric spray. And then for more support,
The old fabric from the chair,
to help sturdy this backing up, add more support and add more comfortability. I had to remove all the staples from this, which you know is my favorite part. But yeah, so this is going to be added to the back to add some stability and sturdiness. The good thing about this, it doesn't have to be stapled on super tight as the sides were. 2 layers down. 1 more to go. The final fabric that I chose out, then the piping around it. Excited, down to the finishings, down to the final touches. Okay, so I'm using the old cording, the old piping to cover up the staples. This is when I said that save everything you can from the old chair as much as possible. This is when it's crucial. The cool thing about that is that this piping, cording, however you say it, already has all the little curves and grooves that are going to need it to make this transition easy and sleek. So simply, I'm doing the no-sew method. So all I'm going to do is take the old piping, old cording, wrap it in the new fabric using my hot glue gun. And I got some Gorilla Glue Stick to make sure that thing is extra secure, you heard me, secure, and some fabric glue, the same one I use to do the edging on the seat, and it's the acid-free, super fast glue. Okay, so first you take your cording and you put on the new fabric, and you're gonna leave a little bit of space.
And I'm just using about 2 fingers of spacing, and then I'm rolling the old piping to figure out how much fabric it's gonna take to cover it. I'm gonna have to fold it and wrap the fabric around it. Then I'm taking my handy dandy fabric glue. I'm going to cover the piping with the fabric glue. I mean, I'm zigzagging across it because this was originally double pipe, so I'm making sure to get that gap, covering it generously. Making sure to press down the old piping onto the new fabric. It had to be heated really properly. Then taking the hot glue gun on the edge of the old piping, and that's going to allow me to fold the fabric into the old piping and making a nice seam, or faux seam. Then I'm taking my sharp edge and going down the middle of the piping to create that double piping look the original one had, and that's why the generous amount of glue is so necessary. And then I'm just going to keep doing this over and over and over again. A lot of glue is used. I had to make a cut, so I'm just gluing it together and putting it back into the piping. Now I'm just hot gluing the other side of the piping, and that again is going to create a nice seam, so when I roll the fabric over, it looks like I sewed it, but I didn't. It's definitely just hot glue. Then just cut off the extra fabric. When applying the piping, I'm doing the same method of using the fabric glue and the hot glue gun, and I'm just using a bunch of it to make sure it's there. Luckily, again, using the old piping, all the shapes are still there, so I don't have to do a lot of manipulation to it. Then to finish the piping off, I'm cutting off any extra fabric and I'm putting it into one of another, and again just using the fabric glue
And this is why using that 2-finger space is needed, because you're putting the piping inside of the other side of the piping, hot gluing it together, and then hot gluing it to the chair. And that's how you close it up. This finishes off the chair.
What a journey, am I right? So I think the chair turned out cute. It could be a little bit better, but again, it's my first time. Please comment below and give me feedback and ideas. I love reading all your guys' comments, all the cool things that you guys come up with. Love it. All right, pros and cons. Let's start on a high note. Pro, it's custom, one of a kind. You'll never see a chair like that. People will go in like, oh, where'd you get the chair? I made it. I actually reupholstered that. That's a pro. Another pro, it can be cost efficient. So I looked around to find chairs, and I found a couple of chairs that look similar to it, have the same aesthetic and feel, but it was a lot more expensive. But if your aesthetic isn't as costly, you could save money either way. Another pro. Can I think of one? I don't know. A con though, the time. So much freaking time. So many staples. So many staples. And it can be difficult to like get everything right and get everything perfect. And at one point I was just like, forget it. This is how it's gonna look. So would I do it again? Probably not. You'd have to pay me. Pay me a lot. Or I was retired and had nothing else to do. That's my thoughts. I'd love to know your thoughts. Comment below. Have a great day. Don't forget to redefine your moment. Bye.